Hello, everybody. How are you today? I am Joy, and this is Joy Unhinged, where I talk about every other topic other than what I talk about on my garden channel, Joy of the Garden and Home. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. And if you catch the replay, thank you for that as well. Today is one of the things I've been wanting for a long time to do, which was a chat with somebody else on this channel. And this one will be about hair care in general, but mainly, for now that I'm at this age in my life, I'd say going how, you know, death rate of people in general. I'd say I'm in middle age now, even though I haven't reached the magical 50. I'd say this is about my midlife. So I'm having midlife hair crisis. Joining me will be Healy Means. I discovered her through gardening, and then I saw how much hair care she does on her channel, and I was like, match made in heaven. We have to get together. So she will be providing more insight on her experiences with her hair, and she does quite a bit on her channel of that. So check her out. It's at Healy Means on YouTube, and she'll share with us her other like Instagram and, well, does she have an Instagram? No, not Instagram. She'll share that other stuff with us. All right, let's bring her on in a second here. Yeah. Hello, lady.
Hi, Joy. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm glad I did that beginning part. You seemed
Yeah,
like you
thank
were
you.
doing
Thank you
something.
very much. I know, I know you saw me squirming around a little bit. I was trying to, get the crop and zoom, as I say,
Right.
of my wrinkle background and
Yeah, I
just
had
try
to
to
pull
make sure
out some
every
wrinkled
yeah.
backgrounds myself. I'm like,
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on your channel and in this live stream to talk about hair care because as you mentioned, my YouTube channel started off with hair care. And then eventually I added, topics and stuff to it, including gardening, which I think we are going to try to tie in
that's right.
to hair. So, like you said, a match made in heaven. Again, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm ready.
All right, awesome. Let's get started. So I want to start with basically how I got to where I'm at. I'd say it started in 2015 for me. Um, we had made a decision that we wanted to move to Reno, and it was a slow process. It didn't work out in the end. But while I was there, they have hard water in Reno, so I was really having trouble with the texture of my hair, and so I stumbled onto No Poo, which is basically a baking soda rinse for your hair. And
Mm-hmm.
because of the hard water, that and really it just wasn't for my hair. Oops, sorry. So that did not work for me. But the other end of No Poo shampoo is the conditioner or the ACV rinse, or what is it? Apple cider vinegar rinse. So
Yes.
that worked for me. That left my hair feeling soft, and like the tangles were controlled by that. So I was like, okay, I can work with that, but I have to now
Mm-hmm.
find some alternative for the shampoo part. So then over the years, it got me into learning about the, not so much learning, but just experimenting with all kinds of oils and stuff, and we'll get into those more. So tell me, how is your journey with your hair? How did you get here?
So my journey with my hair started, of course, as a child, and I wish I
Yeah.
had brought a picture of me because I had almost no hair until I was, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. I was, I looked like Vin Diesel, as some people would say, as a child. I had like a few strands, very easy to comb because like no
Yeah.
hair. But when my hair did grow in, it definitely it definitely grew in my household, we had a mixture of natural hair, um, froze, bushes, braids, and then we also had chemical treated hair, relaxers or heat straighteners. So a gambit, of hair care was going on, from a very early age. I did receive as a child relaxers, maybe like I don't know 1 to 3 times a year. I remember, like, really, it like Easter and Christmas
Mhm.
seem to be, the time, because you want your hair to really, look nice and stuff. You dressing up in your nice clothes and you're going to church and stuff like that. So I kind of remember about that, like Easter and Christmas, maybe one other time a year or so. So that's how I kind of grew up. And then also the hot comb. Oh my goodness, the hot comb. So that was the heat straightener. So not the chemicals, but the heat. And oh my goodness, so that, growing up. But as I became an adult and got out on my own, I moved away from the relaxers. I definitely didn't do the hot comb because I just no, I couldn't do that. And I did incorporate more natural ingredient hair care. I am a big fan of the clays,
Mhm.
and so bentonite clay, things that would like deep cleanse my hair, but also leave it, to me, soft in a way, but just cleansed and refreshed, and manageable without harsh chemicals and without extreme heat. So I moved into, like you said, you mentioned the oils, the herbs, Ayurvedic ingredients and products, the botanicals. Definitely was a kitchen hair care person, DIY. I love it. I have a lot of things here. Some things might come up where I can show an example or not. And now I have a mixture. Obviously, I have a hair care channel, and it is not all whole natural kitchen and garden ingredients. I do buy products, from the stores and online and stuff, but sometimes I will incorporate, natural ingredients into those products to, kind of get a balance.
Yeah.
And so that's where I am today.
Oh, I wanted to add to the childhood experience. Yeah. I definitely grew up or was born with poof of hair. I was not it was not like that. And I think I was the only one with poofy hair, so I was definitely not getting the proper hair care like if I grew up in that community. And in the earlier years it was just a lot of hair pulling and
Mm.
oh god forbid you got lice in your hair. That was such a nightmare.
Oh.
And yeah, I had that a few times. And then as you became a teenager, then that's when it really like my hair, I hate my hair, and it was the
Mm.
whole all the products, the heat, all the like. I even tried like lightening my hair, with a peroxide or lemon juice.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
all those
yeah, yeah.
just
I
awful,
remember the
awful.
lemon juice. Yeah, I think I tried lemon juice also, but it kind of worked
Yeah, it
though.
does work, but
But
it's just so bad.
but I couldn't get but it wasn't even. It was,
Right.
I couldn't. Maybe if I would have made like a lemon paste, or
Hmm.
something where I could control the lemon juice,
Yeah.
and so it would be an even,
Right.
lightening of the color. Yeah, but it
Right.
wasn't.
It was
It
like a
wasn't.
cheetah effect. It's
Yes.
a difference. Oh
Yes.
man. Yeah, so it was it still is a lifelong journey of trying to find um, what works with your hair. But the problem is
Hmm.
you are changing all the time, and the
Yes.
chemistry of your body is changing all the time. And so your hair care when you were young is not going to be the same hair care
It's
routine
not
you're
the
going to have
same.
as you age. Yeah.
It's not.
So let's see. So how do you feel? I guess genetics and getting older. How do you feel
Hmm.
that's transformed your hair care routine through your process through life?
When I was younger, when I started really doing my hair on my own, I did not pay attention to any of the rules. I didn't even know that there were hair rules
Mhm.
until actually I quote unquote joined the natural hair care community on YouTube, right? Then I was like, you got to do this, you can't use
Yep.
this, you can't do that. We love coconut oil. We hate coconut oil. Now it's shea butter. Now, you have to trim your hair every 3 months, 1/4 of 1/8 of an inch
Yeah.
per, this all. I was like, oh my God. So when I was younger, I didn't know. I mean, I recently learned about that just when I started my channel, at the end of 2018. I mean, I had heard of some stuff, maybe in the early 2010s or whatever, but hair rules. When I was younger, I followed no hair rules. I washed my hair. Well, actually co-wash, because I used to wash my hair with conditioner almost every day. We didn't call it a co-wash. We didn't call it anything. We just called it washing your hair with conditioner, because I wash my hair so often, it didn't make sense to shampoo it every day,
Mm,
because I didn't want to take all of the moisture and everything out of my hair. I just wanted to rinse off, sweat and dirt and, just kind of light things. So I would wash my hair with conditioner, gel. I love gel, so I'm a gel girl. Aloe vera gel, and then of course some of the styling gels. But aloe vera gel, I have said this on my channel so many times. If there was one product, because that was a thing going around for a while. If it was one product, if you were on a deserted island, blah blah blah, aloe vera gel. I can cleanse my hair with it. I can condition my hair with it. I can moisturize my hair with it, and I can style my hair with it. That's the 4 steps of my wash day. Aloe vera gel, hands down, forever, infinity, and beyond. So, and that was a beyond. That wasn't a HH, for for YouTube for the. Maybe I should take that back. Can we cut that out the live stream?
We're gonna
I
bleep.
meant infinity and beyond. But yeah, so growing up, I just kind of did whatever to my hair, with my hair, for my hair, because it always grew. It grew back fast, no matter what I did. Like if I would have shaved my head bald, which I never did, but I have had very short haircuts, you know, over the years, but my hair would always grow back. So I didn't really worry about, like taking care of it, like officially taking care of it.
Right.
As I got older though, I did realize that, hey, you need to start paying attention, to your hair. I had a lot of breakage and stuff from not taking care of it. My hair was drying out. And so moisture became very important. Moisture, um, deep, deep cleansing without stripping my hair. So then, the clays and the botanicals and the natural hair ingredients, I started using that. But for me, as I've gotten older, moisture is definitely something that I pay attention to. And in order to get and maintain the moisture, it really involves the entire wash day and hair care cycle. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
what I found also was a big shift for me was having obviously children, and that totally
Mm,
shifts your hair. When you first have, when you're in the pregnancy stage, you have a lot of hair, it's lush, it's beautiful, and then you have the children, and you go through that dive of your hormones, and you lose your
uh-huh.
hair in clumps, and that's for real. If you're not lucky, some people
Mhm.
maybe you lose a lot of hair, and like for me, since I have so much hair, it was kind of like, oh yay, I have less hair now.
Yeah.
It's a little more manageable. But in reality, it's it was fine in the beginning, but then by the third time, I was starting to lose hair in areas that I was not comfortable losing hair. So the
Mhm.
thinning at the top. And I think in general, I think that's across the board, whether you have kids or not, that you get thinning in certain parts of your head or the front part,
Mhm.
men and women. So once that started happening, then I was really like gung ho on, all right, what do I have to do here to have healthier hair? I was definitely getting a lot of more breakage, noticeable crunchy ends. I was not holding on to moisture either. Um, and even the winter here, I know you don't have such a harsh winter there, but the winter here really saps your hair dry. And that wasn't something I was paying attention to until recently.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I started like I'm not taking a deep dive per se, but I'm slowly incorporating, and it takes like experimenting. Not any of these
Yes.
products are going to work for you, so you really got to just try it out for
Yes.
a few weeks, a few months, and then move on to something else, and on and on. That's why I
Yes.
understand why you buy products and you also have your own products that that you might make
Mhm.
yourself, because you just won't know until you try them. And
And
yeah,
that's
I
and
have plenty of bought products also.
mhm. And that's the thing too, like you said, you never know until you try it. Um, that's another thing with me for the hair care products I purchased, but I'm just gonna go back just right quick. So even so teenage and getting in older years and stuff, and now my gray hair, or also golden strands. I have golden strands of hair that are separate from my gray strands that is separate from my brown hair. The golden strands and the brown hair, they act in accordance with what they supposed to do. The gray hairs do not. They do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, whenever they want to do it. It doesn't matter what type of product I use, how much of the product that I use. The gray hairs do their own thing, which I'm just learning to work around it because I don't want to dye my hair, like with a chemical dye. I don't want to dye my hair. Now I do have some indigo and something else. What's the thing everybody used to cover their grays? Why can't I think of it? I can't
There's
believe it.
henna. Do you use
Yeah,
henna?
henna. So
Oh,
I have
okay.
henna. Yeah, I could not think of it. Yeah, but I have henna and indigo. And I'm gonna mix them together because the henna will give you like the very reddish tones, and I don't want like red hair. I
Yeah.
don't, but the indigo will help make it more brown. And
Mhm.
I keep saying that I'm gonna do it. I have the ingredients. I know what to do. I know how to mix it and everything. I still haven't done it. And every year I'm like, this will be the year, I'll try it. And each year I'm getting more and more, gray hairs. And
Mhm.
at first it was a couple strands, kind of
Yeah.
on the side, but now you can see they kind of, focusing in the front. And it depends on like which way I comb my hair or what, you can see more. But the grays definitely demand their own attention.
Okay.
Back to what you were saying about, having the different, store-bought hair products and then, your own items that you make at home, and then not knowing what you're going to use not knowing what works until you try it. Um, the hair products, these companies now, they are masters at labeling products to say, okay, this product will work for your type hair, your age hair, your, issue hair,
Yeah.
and then you may get locked into, okay, only this will work for me because it says, this,
Right.
only this, or this won't work for me because it says something that does not match the hair I have on my head. When I buy store-bought products, I buy whatever I want. I just buy, and like you said, I try it a couple times because that's another thing too. There have been several times where I have tried a product, and maybe the first time I don't like it at all. Um, hashtag waste not, want not. I am not gonna throw it away.
Right. Right.
But being consistent and trying it a few times. Now, unless the first time you try it and your hair falls out, then of course, no, I was about to say give it to
Let's
somebody else, but maybe not. But even so, if you have a product the first time you try it, oh yeah, I really like it, this is good. And then you try it again, you might get a different result. So
yeah.
it is definitely a trial and error. I mean, yeah, it's trial and error. I am uh uh but I'm gonna say I'm a retired product junkie. I have so many products though, it will take me my hair will be all the way gray probably until I get through all of those products. But the goal is to find, let's say, maybe two or three, four like sets of products that work, and that I can use year round. Because here in the summer and the fall, it is very hot and dry. And so I do have to focus on moisture. In the winter time, it's cool and moist. So maybe I'm not focusing on moisture like as much during that time, but the summer and well, shoot, the spring, the summer, and the fall really, it's the dry air, hot, but the dry air.
Right.
And so you need products and different sets of products to help you, manage your hair throughout the year.
Right.
So,
So let's see. Well, let's start with, let's say, how can we help our hair with our diet mainly? Because I think a lot
mm,
of our health is obviously tied to what we put in ourselves. So I think that's a good starting point. So even before you put a product in your head,
yes,
although we've been doing that this whole time,
yes,
let's concentrate on what we're eating.
yes, absolutely. And I would say even before the eating,
The drinking, right?
water,
Hmm.
water, water, water. You cannot go wrong with water and water year round. Water before you get thirsty. By the time your body tells you that you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Right.
Water is key, and some people don't like water. They have those, those little
Yeah, packets of
flavored
like,
little
yeah,
thing. I would say try to get the most natural, ones as possible. But if the only one you like is the one that has whatever in it, if it's going to help you to drink water, please. Green tea, teas, coffee, maybe not so much.
right.
Um, but people have used coffee on their
On their
hair.
hair. Yes.
Yeah, have used coffee on their hair. So yeah, for the foods, I would just say just keep it short and sweet. Whole natural foods.
Correct.
Whatever that means to you, whole natural foods. And that's, um meats, vegetables, herbs if you're a vegetarian, if you whatever, just whole natural foods and water and green tea.
Right. So even as you're eating your whole foods, make try to cook it with particularly oils. Really try to stay away from this and not synthetic, the canola, the cheaper oils. It's really not good for you. And let me stress this: it's cheap now versus, let's say, a better grade olive oil or avocado oil. But
Mhm.
if you continue to pump yourself with this bad oil, it's going to cost you in the long run. When you have some heart condition, when you have diabetes, and that's going to cost way more money than a
It
few
it
extra bucks on
is.
oil now.
It is. And I will say just also for, the YouTube algorithm and stuff, and Joy, I'm gonna just speak for you on this. We are not medical professionals. We
Oh,
are
I
not
forgot to say that.
doctors. Right. We are not professionals of any kind. Even if
Right.
we really are, for this YouTube,
Not
we are
this.
not. So
Exactly.
please do your own research, speak with your own health professionals, your own hair care stylist, your own exercise guru, your own nutritionist, dietitian. You do all of that yourself. We
Right.
are not the certified professionals of any kind. What we are telling you are things that we do, and we're not telling you to do anything. We're just saying. We're just saying.
Or just saying.
So,
I should
cause
have
you're not
started
a
off
YouTube guest, so I'm like, yeah, no, no, no. Look, I'm looking out for both of us now. So, I knew you were gonna get to it. I knew you were gonna say it, but
in my
just
notes.
in case, because they'll try. We'll still be talking, but then when you upload this, like the whole rest of the video will be like cut off.
Right. I'll put that in the description at the bottom. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I did write not professionals right there. I forgot to say
You-
it. Go
I
figure.
knew you were on it. I knew you were on it. But we say it one sentence, and that could be, hey. But I agree with you. So, I cook with I try to cook with the solid fats because it has been said
Right.
that you
Today.
you you cook with the solid fats and you dress drizzle on top with the liquid fats.
Hmm.
Now you can um bake with liquid fats. You can cook in fats like olive oil. Um, some people don't like olive oil, so they'll use coconut oil. Some people don't like coconut oil, so they'll use grapeseed oil.
Yeah.
But seed oils, I try not to use those or use those very sparingly. Um, I cook in butter. I cook in beef tallow.
Hmm.
I cook in coconut oil, and olive oil. Those are the four, main things
Right.
that I use to cook. And then I'll drizzle with olive oil or coconut oil.
Mhm.
Um, and you can get the coconut oil. I mean, it is refined in a sense, slightly refined because they remove like the smell and the taste of the coconut because it can be sweet. And I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe if you are cooking a steak in coconut oil, you don't want the steak
Right.
to like taste like coconut. Like I get that. I do. I get that. But yeah, I agree. The oil, so vegetable oil, canola oil, um, those other oils, if you look at the bottle, it'll tell you
Yeah.
hydrogenized, hydrogenated, ultra refined, extra supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
Hmm.
fried, dyed, and laid to the side.
Exactly. Exactly.
My grandmother used to tell me if a fly won't eat it, you shouldn't either.
Exactly.
Flies don't
There
eat
you
vegetable oils. They don't
go.
eat margarine, but they will eat butter. So that's, if a fly won't eat it, then maybe you shouldn't either. That's a visual for you.
Mhm. That's where like palm oil. I know that's a big product in other countries because it's cheap and
Hmm.
easily available. And it's not so much the palm itself that's the problem. It is the processing that it goes through. The high
Hmm.
heat that breaks down some of those bonds, the chemical bonds. And
Hmm.
when it enters our body, it's going to try to rebond with what we have in ourselves. And that's when you end up
Right.
with problems.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's not all bad, but it's not the way humans are currently processing things. Not the best either.
Right. I mean, and then there's also like a transition period because if you are on the standard American diet, which really is sad,
Yeah.
um, y there is a transition period. I wouldn't expect a person to say, okay, I've been eating just a standard American diet my entire life. Today, I am going to 100% switch over to everything, 100% healthy for my body. And that's another thing too. You do what's healthy for your body because some ways of eating will work with some bodies and then some will not. So you have to find it's enough. See, we talked about trial and error for finding out our hair care. It's
Right.
also trial and error in a sense of finding out what eating styles are best for your
Right.
body. I'm actually in the process of trying another eating style myself. I mentioned this on my last vlog in the car video, and I'm waiting for the feedback to see if people want a video or if they want a live stream on it. So I'm not going to talk about it yet, but it was a transition for me, eating the way that I was to eating the way that I am now. But it's working for me. But I wouldn't have known that unless I tried it and then tried it consistently, meaning daily, and for a period of time, not just like 3 days and,
Right.
oh, this doesn't work. Okay, yeah, this works, but let me just go back to what I was doing before. So it's
Yeah.
important.
I've recently starting to transition into the beef fat, which I didn't know about until like a year ago. I didn't know you
Hmm.
could cook, that it was something available. Of course, it's all expensive because being healthy is expensive. But if
Yeah,
you
girl, but
budget,
you never like cooked hamburgers and like save the grease and put it in a glass
right,
jar next to your stove. You don't what?
we don't eat
Girl,
burgers much, so there's that.
I'm about
But
to yeah.
Yeah, but you don't think about that. It's like,
Mhm,
plus it has
mhm.
to be like a great burger, not just some, cheapo
That
burger.
that's true too. That's true too. But these that's way so the beef tallow, is that what you're talking about? The beef
Yeah,
tallow?
yeah.
Yeah, so it is. I went to my local health food store. It's like smaller than a Whole Foods.
Oh,
It's like a smaller Whole Foods. So that means that it's still expensive, but not
yeah.
as expensive as Whole Food. And they had beef tallow. It was a 16-ounce tub, so 1 pound, and I believe it was 16.99.
Mhm.
And I said, "You know what? Let's see if it goes on sale." It's been about 4 months. That beef tallow has never gone it has never gone on sale.
Right.
If you have a local butcher, or
Exactly.
that you can probably get, and a lot of local butchers, they just throw that fat away.
Mhm.
They throw it away, but you can render it at home into your own tallow instead of buying 16.99 a pound,
Right.
tallow at the store. And it's not a difficult process at all. But like you said, a transition, using the beef fat, I use beef fat. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
I like it. I like it. It's good.
Awesome. And also because it's supposed to be beneficial for your skin. Like recently, I've been seeing YouTube ads about men use tallow on their faces because it's manly. I'm like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm cooking with that. I might as well use it on my skin. Why not?
Did you see the ad for so there's beef tallow soap also advertised towards men.
Mhm.
Beef tallow used in deodorant advertised towards men.
Right. Weird.
So soap, deodorant, body, whatever. They probably have beef tallow lotion, who knows? Actually, I know a YouTuber who
Probably.
uses beef tallow to make salves,
Mhm.
and lotions and stuff that she uses on her skin. And I can almost see, like, through the laptop screen, that her skin looks like a newborn baby. So
Oh, nice.
I might, maybe not the tallow that I've been frying my
Right.
food with, but I might have to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I bought the first, bottle, so I have to try it out. But
Hmm.
next time, I'm definitely gonna go to the butcher and get me some of
Hmm.
that and do it myself. Because yeah, it's super not difficult. Just a slow cook process. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to
Hmm.
overheat that stuff. All
Hmm.
right, let's get into the meat of the hair care products. Let's say. I want to do. Let's see. Yeah, just basic. Let me pull up some pictures here of
Okay.
some oils. I just got this on the internet. Ignore any branding. We're not
Yeah.
sponsored. We're not advertising. I didn't have time to crop out the names of anything. So this
Hmm.
is what I pulled up. So these are some oils that supposedly good for your hair,
Okay. And while
stimulates.
you showing that, I'm gonna dig around here in my little jar of oils. These come from my closet rebels. I have containers in my closet full of, like, hair care like stuff.
Mhm.
And I have some. I'm trying to look on the list too and see what
So
I
what I
have
have in
of
my
those things.
closet is
Mhm.
argan oil, sweet almond, castor oil, obviously. I think everybody should have that. Jojoba, and then coconut because I cook with that too. But I got the cooking coconut and then the like extra virgin, I guess, coconut, which is less heat process. So that's what I use for my skin and hair. And then what other oils do I have? I have calendula because I grow that flower, and we'll
Mhm.
get into growing our own stuff in after this. And also, what else? I have grapeseed oil, which is on this list. And what else? I don't have aloe vera oil, but I do have aloe vera gel.
Yes.
And then other things that I have not, like I have flaxseed, but I never thought to process it for oil. Like I eat it, which is just as
Mhm.
important, if not more so, is to eat some of these some of these the plants that have the oils in them. Eating them is just as
Yes.
important as just buying the oil itself. Especially
Mhm.
since you don't know like what they're, well, if you go through the reputable sources, then they're using high quality ingredients to process their stuff. And some
Yes.
of these, some of the like major brands, particularly, they are like dulling the main oil, the expensive oil. They're diluting it with some cheaper oil.
Mhm.
Mineral oil is one of the that I've heard, which is just some synthetic byproduct of the oil industry, and
Yes.
that's what they use to sell it to you for cheaper. But it's
Mhm.
not really doing as much for your hair that you think, just because it might say this nice product is on it. Don't look at all this other junk that's in it.
Right, right. And I remember, I mean, growing up, because we used, and I actually bought some more of it, so hair grease. I mean, we used that all growing up, and I promise you, like my hair was like Rapunzel. But it may not have been like exactly the grease that was doing it. It probably was a combination, the fact I was young, I was healthy, fairly, healthy being young. I was
Yep.
very active, I had the circulation and everything, moving around. I drank a lot of water, always playing outside, and all of that kind of stuff. And what my mom used to do was she greased my hair like on damp hair or
Mm,
on wet hair. So the grease was like locking in the moisture from the water,
mhm,
because if I believe so, the first ingredient or maybe the second ingredient on that B&B grease is mineral oil or
mhm.
petroleum or petrolatum. This all sourced from the same, it's a byproduct of the crude oil industry where we get our gasoline from our vehicles. This was a byproduct and it used to be thrown away. And then some, and I would call this person a genius, said, hey, we can use this byproduct for actually with the pharmaceutical company. That's a whole different subject. I'm just saying. And
Yeah.
then from there, it was spread and used in like every every industry, including the hair care. That's why a lot of hair care products, mostly the cheap ones, but even the premium or the more expensive ones,
Right.
you will see mineral oil or petroleum or petrolatum or some kind of variation, because that's another thing that hair care companies do is they use different forms of the name.
Yep.
That's the same ingredient, but they'll use a different name that maybe we won't recognize,
Yeah.
and we thinking that is something good, but it's not. So there's that. But you said we're gonna the home DIY stuff we're gonna do separate. But I just wanted to show you some examples of things I have. Again, please disregard the name branding, and I wasn't gonna scrape the labels off of all
Right.
of these bottles, but Joy talked about castor oil, and this is a specific type. This is the Jamaican black castor oil, and there has been some, I'm not going to say controversy or whatever, but some people say, should I use the regular castor oil or should I use the Jamaican black castor oil? Which one is better? This and that. I say use the one that's most available and most affordable to you, because castor oil is gonna do um like the same things. Jamaican black castor oil is uh maybe a slightly different like formulation or process to get to the oil, but just if you have Jamaican black castor oil available to you, try that. If you just have the regular castor oil, try that. I think some of the other oils. You talked about glycerin, so
No, but
vegetable glycerin, that may have been, on
I
a
have
list
that
of
bottle.
vegetable glycerin. Uh-oh. For a long time after coconut oil, I didn't bring my coconut oil container down here with me, but first people love coconut oil, and then it's just a complete turnaround and people started hating coconut oil.
You're right.
Coconut oil works for my hair, but if it doesn't work for your hair, please don't use it. There's many oils to try. But then shea oil and shea butter. So this is the oil form, But shea oil, shea butter, that was, pretty famous for a while. That was, almost in every like store-bought ingredient. And you can see like there are cycles of key ingredients included in these hair products. You go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Another one, jojoba oil.
Mhm.
And jojoba oil is actually a wax, but it's liquid. So jojoba oil was another one, and then also sometimes you would see apricot oil. I've even seen peach oil, but I think people just started getting crazy with the fruit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We just, oh, okay, you want to have apricot oil? Well, I'm gonna have peach oil. Well, I'm gonna have this oil. I'm gonna have that oil. But just please keep in mind when you hear blank oil, think of the source of the product. So when you hear vegetable oil, do you get oil from like a green bean or like a spinach leaf? Like where,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So they say it's vegetable oil,
Vegetable.
but what vegetable is this oil coming from?
Right.
Right? Just that I'm just saying it's something to consider. If you squeeze oil out of a spinach leaf, let me know. Let me, let me know, let me know.
Right.
Um, and then
And if you were
rosemary.
using the seeds of the vegetable, you know how many seeds you need?
Right, right. And
How
you
expensive that would
absolutely,
be?
you absolutely right about that. And then some of this other stuff I'm gonna save until you get to it. But I have a couple other things
All right.
to show.
Let me just, this was something I pulled up about some possible, goodness of some of the oils. So I
Mm-hmm.
like this one because for me, like I'm looking for a certain effect on my hair. Like you said, coconut works for you, but I tried it for a long time and I was like, I don't like this. Why don't I like this? And then I figured out,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's the coconut because I read somewhere that it could be like a drying effect on your hair. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's why. So coconut does
Mm-hmm.
not work for me. So I had to take that off my ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
So high penetration, according to this list, are your coconut, sunflower, palm. I've never heard of ukuba or babasu, so I've never heard of those. And then some penetration, and this is what I use primarily, are the castor, shea, olive, avocado, argan, sweet almond, and grapeseed. And then
Mm-hmm.
no penetration, but it's like a protective, are your jojoba and mineral oil. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
um, some things to consider there. And mixing them all, well, let's say your hair is damp and you should always put this stuff on when your hair is damp to get that penetration, and that's when you would do the either the high or the medium penetration, and then you would close off the cuticle by using the no penetration products.
Mm-hmm.
And don't use too much because some of these are heavier than others, so that's when
They
you
are.
experiment.
And then also you can use them as hot oil treatments. And all
Ah,
that really
yes.
is one or more of the oils of your choice. You apply them to your hair and you can, put a shower cap. You can tie your hair with saran wrap. You can use a grocery bag. They have the hot heads or the thermal heads,
Mhm.
those kind of the things that are filled with like flax seeds and stuff. I have one, a thermal head, a hot head. Actually, I think I have two of them. You can use that where you put it in the microwave and heat
Mhm.
it up, and then put that on your hair. I would do a shower cap or some kind of
Right.
plastic, first because it is oil, and then you apply heat, and that will help even like the no penetration or the medium penetration if you're trying to just kind of infuse your hair with the properties of the oil. You can apply heat and that can help. And then you just shampoo or, whatever your hair care routine is. I used to do that more regularly. And I think I want to get back to that. It's easier for me to do it in the winter though, when it's like cooler, because I don't know, just something about the summer heat and dousing my hair with
Right.
well, or even though, like you said, don't use too much, but in the summer it seemed like a drop is too much. But as a pre-poo, as a hot oil treatment, as just a treatment for your hair, that's an option. And like I said, you can do it with one oil, you can do it with a mixture of oils. You don't have to go out and buy just expensive, like just for instance, and again, so this is a brand name, hair care oil. And it has some really good ingredients, and extra stuff in it, not just oils. But what I did, when I kind of ran low on this is actually a mixture of what's left of the main product and then plus some of my own DIY, formula that I mix together. And then I'll use this sometimes as a hot oil treatment, but mostly applying it to not my exact scalp, but just kind of like, so like if this is the scalp, kind of like right here
Mhm.
and, out, not the whole length of my hair, just about maybe 1 or 2 inches, over my whole, head, just to kind of get the oils in there. I'll do that sometimes. Is different oils you can use, is different methods you can use to apply it, is different, ways, is trial and error. But I do think that oils are at least a something to try. I don't want to say suggestion. I don't want to say recommendation. I'm not putting pressure on anybody because I don't want people to think, oh, we're watching this video. It's so much valuable information. Let me go out to the store or go online and buy, 1 billion oils. Don't do that.
Say hi. I'm gonna say hi to Girl Dad. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you. Um, I just pulled up on Google here the some of the properties that are good for these oils, but I
Hmm.
think I'll save this for the plant section actually.
Okay.
Um, what do? You want to do the DIY next?
Yeah, we can do the DIY. This may what I have right here in front of me, these may go into some of the plant. Oh, so what were you going to say about the plants?
What you can grow for yourself so that you don't have to keep buying these products.
Okay, these kind of go in, and you mentioned some of these earlier. Um, I'll just show this one because I think you already talked about it.
All right.
So Joy talked about the calendula.
Yay.
So
Awesome.
this is calendula in coconut oil,
Okay.
and I just did that myself. Like you say, you grow the flowers, you already have them.
Yep.
I dry the flowers, and then I just put them in oil. And this sits somewhere in a cool, dark, dry, place. And I let mine sit for, 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes 3 or 4 months before I start using it. It depends on the oil, it depends on the herb, it depends on when I need it, the herb, the flower, the botanical.
Right.
I'll say depends on when I need it. And then I just let them sit and I use them until they're empty. So this is a calendula. Another flower, this is lavender.
Mhm.
So this is lavender that I have again in coconut oil. I um I usually use a lighter oils to infuse, and then I'll add, maybe a castor oil or, something a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
This is just bare remnants of my Ayurvedic oil. I just have a little bit left, but the sediment that you see at the bottom, these are all Ayurvedic and botanical ingredients. This stuff is gold for my hair. It really is.
Awesome.
And then just very quickly, here's another one, and I even labeled this one. This
Good.
is cinnamon
Yeah.
with coconut oil. Some people use cayenne pepper,
Ah, yes.
but that's just a little bit too, and it's to, like invigorate the scalp and invigorate the follicles to try to
Yeah.
promote hair growth and stuff. And now that is something that I do not prefer, but instead, the cinnamon, it kind of does the same thing for me. And then just the last thing very quickly, um this is actually garlic infused olive oil.
Okay.
That's what this is. Something that I do not advise applying to your hair and leaving the house. You staying home with this one. This is
Right.
you staying home for this one, and you are staying up late enough to wash your hair after,
Mhm.
or you are like triple and quadruple bagging your hair and plus putting a scarf and a bonnet and everything over it if you plan on sleeping,
Mhm.
you know, and sleeping with this. But I'm gonna stop right there because I know you're gonna, go into some more stuff. But these are just examples of some things you can do at home with things that you either have in your kitchen or things that you have in your garden.
Mhm. I like to use grapeseed oil by
Mm-hmm.
with my mixes. Let me just pull up. Like I didn't go into. Oh, here's some other like kitchen things you can use. Honey.
Yes.
Honey is really good. And I realize
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going into like what are the things that are good about these things because they do interlap. Like they're good for moisture or they're good for shine. It's like it's all in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do your own thing. So honey, apple cider vinegar that's easily available to us, and eggs. Maybe not now, but most of the time we have eggs in our kitchen.
Girl.
Don't use your eggs for your hair right now.
No, please. I finally got to Costco and I finally was able to beat the crowd to get the eggs before they sold out, but they were selling out in less than 2 hours
Wow,
from the store
that
open
sounds good. Yeah.
time, which is like 10 o'clock. By
Mhm.
12 o'clock, every egg is gone except the liquid egg whites.
Oh yeah,
But like I don't want that.
exactly. And we have here a limit of two at like our BJ's. It's different at the shop
Yes.
rights or whatever, but there's a limit
Mm-hmm.
to how many you can get. Um, Fruits like strawberry, baking soda, we have that. You should have a bulk of baking soda regardless of whatever you need it for. Cleaning, even your toothpaste could be used with baking soda. Baking soda is
Yes.
great. Banana, people who eat avocado, that's a lot of. So that's on this list. And what else here? We have, this is harder to read. Fenugreek. This is a seed I'm going to be buying soon because I'm now seeing that this is beneficial for my hair. So I'm going to try
Yes.
it and I'm going to grow it
I
instead.
yeah, I have that. It might be in one of my containers over there, but I do, yes, I have used fenugreek. And going back to the flaxseed, I have used the flaxseed to make flaxseed gel.
Uh
So
huh.
if you don't have aloe vera growing in your backyard, or you don't have it available to you like at your grocery store, you can try flaxseed oil. I
I've
mean,
tried
you can try flax seeds
the
to
seeds.
make a flaxseed gel, and
Yeah.
it is literally flax seeds and
And
water.
water. Mhm.
There's a
I've done,
billion, yeah, there's a billion YouTube videos, and all of that, but flax seeds and water, and you can have your own gel.
yeah,
Hmm.
I've made my own gel with, I think it was chia because it has the same property that it gets into this like goop if you soak it long
Hmm.
enough and you put it in some kind of cloth and you squish and then you
Yes.
get the goop out. I've also made
Hmm.
my own hairspray at one point, but I forget what I made it out of. But you can also
Uh-huh.
make your own hairspray with natural ingredients. So here
Hmm.
are just some ingredients for hair fall, scalp repair, damage ends. And, this doesn't work for everybody. So do your own research. Like I suffer, let's see, I suffer dry hair. I get dandruff now and again. And let's say, not hair fall just yet, but damage. I have damaged hair sometimes. So these would be
Hmm.
things that I would consider. But as I was growing up, I would do like the egg and mayonnaise, like for protein. It was always hearing your hair needs to be strong. It's have protein. I didn't really understand all of it, but I was just like, okay, let me put some hair
Okay, I'll do
gunk
it.
on
I'll do
it.
it. That
And
the thinning hair too. So it says the fenugreek, but the rice water. Now rice water was a big thing. I think the hair product companies or the natural hair community, I think we probably cycled through rice water, but that was all the rage for a while. And people were buying all of these products with the rice water ingredient. And I'm like, but
it's
every
just
time you cook rice, you have rice water. I mean, if you wanted to try it without spending extra money,
right.
you have rice water every time you cook rice. I
Mhm.
rinse my rice. Maybe if you don't rinse your rice, you don't
Yeah,
have, rice, but I rinse my rice, and that can be the rice water, right there. And I
right.
would dilute it. I wouldn't just take like the first rinsing and just dump that on my hair. Maybe you want to dilute it 50-50. It's trial and error. You want to test it out. Your mileage may vary. This may not work for you. 50,000 disclaimers, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm saying is, the like the main ingredients in some of these store-bought hair products, you can actually do them at home. Just like apple cider vinegar. That was a big thing for like a while.
Mhm. I
You
still
can
use it.
buy, yeah, you can buy, 32 ounces of apple cider vinegar that'll last you, for ages, instead of buying, like a little 4 ounce or 8 ounce, store bought product, that's between $10 and $20.
Mhm.
So, hmm
And I did not pull up um, some of the like clay products, powders. I know bentonite
hmm
clay is one
yeah,
I hear a
I
lot of
have,
use.
let me see. I should have had this better because there's some stuff here I want to show. So, Um, let me see. So
Kaolin
I
clay,
have, yeah,
maybe.
white
Yes,
kaolin
there it
clay.
is.
So
Yeah.
there's white, there's pink, there's green, there's different colors of kaolin clay.
Mhm.
But I like kaolin clay because it is a gentler clay.
Okay.
When you use things like bentonite clay, and there's calcium bentonite clay and sodium bentonite clay, I highly recommend the calcium bentonite clay.
Okay.
Sodium bentonite clay is stronger.
Okay.
It has a stronger adsorb property. It's not absorb, it adsorbs, which means that it binds to like literally everything, and then it pulls it away. It pulls out everything. It does not discriminate, which is why if you use clays to cleanse your hair, you want to follow up with a nice moisturizing
Right.
um conditioner or deep conditioner. Here I just happen to pick out, so
Ah,
activated
yes.
charcoal. I like activated charcoal. Just any kind of clays and stuff like that. Just wear clothes that you don't mind getting, stained, or like just stained,
Right.
because the activated charcoal will definitely, it will stain. But I make toothpaste with this. I make
Mhm. Yes.
hair masks with this. I have French green clay. This is the dark one. And
Mhm.
the French green clay has like the marine minerals in it. So that's a property of that clay. I also have zeolite clay. Now zeolite clay it's like it's stronger than calcium bentonite clay, but maybe not as strong as sodium bentonite clay. But it is a clay. Again, it helps to just pull out all of the dirt, the grime, the residue, all of that stuff. It pulls it all out of the hair, so you can wash it and rinse it away. And then, like I said, follow up with a moisturizer. I'm gonna stop pulling because I have a lot of other stuff. Let me know. Are we doing Ayurvedic stuff, or no? We just gonna stop with the clays?
No, no, keep going. I'm
Okay,
learning.
keep going, keep going. This is, again, don't pay attention to brand names, but you might say, hey, what does it look like? Well, let me see. I didn't want to open these because they are powders and they
Right.
will like dust everywhere.
Yeah.
But this is a French green clay. I think this is the light one. This
Mhm.
is the light one. But clay's making a clay mask. And you can, if you're not sure what to put in a clay mask, you can look at the ingredients of store-bought clay
Uh-huh.
mask.
Right.
Look at the main ingredients, of course, the preservatives and the additives, all of that kind of stuff. You don't need that because you're going to be making what you need and apply it right then. So you don't have to worry about preservatives and stuff like that. But if you just want to get an idea of what to put in a clay mask, you can do that. I make a dry mix, and then as I use the dry mix,
Mhm.
I'll mix it in with liquids, other botanicals, other things. I have some of my first YouTube videos are of hair oil mixes and dry mixes and stuff like that, if you want to look it up. Other things. So we talked about, let's see, stuff that you may have. Oh, this is white kaolin clay. So just another kind of kaolin clay. I think I showed you. No, I did show you white before, but I also have pink and green. But we talked about stuff kind of in the kitchen or in your house. So I also have turmeric powder
Oh, okay.
and I use that. That's good. But again, this will stain your life. This
Right.
this will stain everything. I only use this in like small amounts. You
Mhm.
don't need a lot of these products or these ingredients, I would say you don't need a lot of it to have an effect.
Right.
So some stuff a little goes a long way. Colloidal oatmeal,
Oh.
and you can make this just take oatmeal, and if you have a strong blender, grinder,
Hmm.
blend up the oatmeal into a powder.
Yeah.
And then you can use that. This is good for moisture. Well, you know what? I'm not. Do your research.
Well, oatmeal is
Do
like a
your
soothing thing. Like you
You
have
know,
poison
it is.
ivy or
Is
itchiness, chicken
right.
pox.
Is
You use
y-
that.
and
So
it does the same thing, may or may not, for your scalp. It's so that's a good ingredient. Botanicals. So pink roses.
oh,
I
yeah,
use that.
roses is
And
big in that.
some and it's so if you grow flowers in your garden, some of those flowers, we already talked about adding flowers to oils. You can add these flowers to dry mixes or clays or even cleansing like shampoo,
Mhm.
Aretha. And this is getting into Ayurvedic things, Brahmi powder. And I have a video also talking about my Ayurvedic stash and kind of what it may or may not be good for. Ashwagandha powder.
Oh,
Now, this is good for your hair. It's good if you would. It has been said that this is beneficial taken internally and used
yes,
externally.
exactly. That's what I was hearing.
Ashwagandha. Um,
And the
ah,
common theme to this is that if you can take it
yeah,
internally, you can use it externally on your hair or your skin.
right. This is black cumin seeds
Oh
on
yeah,
the Gela sativa. Yep,
that's
this is
good.
another one. Now, most people know this as an oil, um, that you would take internally, if you would. It's nasty though, but I have found if I just quick,
Mhm.
just take it quick.
Yeah,
Some people mix it with honey or mix it with lemon to try to mask the taste, or at least just make it so you can swallow it. I've tried all of those things, and honestly, just quick. Maybe you can chase it with something. Some people chase it with
right,
like orange juice or some kind of like a strong something, but
right.
I just take it. Here, hibiscus flowers, we talked
Oh,
about that. Another flower that you might grow. My hibiscus died,
oh
y'all.
no.
It died. And I'm not gonna go through all of these, but then and just another one. So neem,
See, that surprised
um,
me. The name.
yep. So neem is good. Some people use the oil in their hair, like neem oil in their hair, which is where is that? Because I purposely pulled it out, but I don't know where I put it. But some of these things, so like the herbs,
Mhm.
um, just are we gonna do
Yeah,
herbs?
let's segue
Separate?
into that.
Okay, yeah. So herbs, we talked about rosemary, um the some of the flowers, but the thing that I wanted to say about yeah, marshmallow. I have a lot of these things in either dried form or powdered form that I will add to a dry mix. I actually have soap nuts. I have soap nuts, and you can use that as a mild cleanser for your hair.
Yep.
But the thing that I want to say about the herbs and even some of the flowers, but just the herbs specifically, if you don't grow the herb or whatever, I don't know, you don't have access to like the dry herb or the raw herb, you can also try essential oils. So this is rosemary, but as in essential oil. The thing when you're buying these, make sure it says 100% pure essential oil and not a fragrance oil.
Right.
A fragrance oil is artificial. It probably does not have any. the real item in it, or maybe like 1% or something. But you can get herbs and even flower essences and stuff like that that are 100% pure in a form like this. If you don't grow it at home, or you, for whatever reason, can't get it, from your local grocery store. Another thing, tea tree oil.
Mhm. I
This is a
find that
really
good
good
for
one.
itchy scalp, which I suffer
Yes,
sometimes.
this is really a good one. And then
And just
here was the neem oil
okay.
that I was talking about, the neem oil. It's just, so there's different forms that you can get um these natural ingredients in, for your hair. Peppermint, again, and I got this from Whole Foods. So you don't even have to go, if you even if you don't prefer to order online, or you can't order online or whatever, you can find some of this in your local store, local health food stores.
Mhm.
This is vanilla. I actually make my own vanilla extract,
Yeah.
and it's time for me to make some more, and it is very basic. Vanilla beans and
Water.
alcohol of your choice.
Yeah.
That's, whatever whatever one you want. I have made it with, what, I'm not gonna say, but an alcohol of your choice and vanilla beans. I use quite a few. I put maybe a couple of them in there whole, but then the others I break the pot
Mhm.
open and scratch the inside and just let it, soak. And I usually let that sit for 3 or 4 months.
Mhm. Yeah.
Shake it up, every so often to make sure it, mixes up. And then you can either strain it or just, pour it straight from your container. So
Right.
I'm gonna stop because I have so many more. Oh wait, hold on. Let me just see if I can find, y'all looking. I'm standing up and everything. No, I don't have it in here.
All
I
right.
thought I had I thought I had one of my jars that literally showed all of the ingredients that I put in one of my dry mixes. It's in that video if you go like way, way back and find it. But
We'll try to link some of them in the description.
yeah, but natural ingredients are available from your garden, from your kitchen, from your local Whole Food stores, and online. It's a
And
trial and error. It's fun. It is fun though. And you can do it.
oh, and as far as if you can't find it in the beauty aisle of your supermarket, it's probably in the baking aisle of your supermarket.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
So I guess, well, not just ending it yet, but do you have time? I know we're
I
going.
I have time. I have
Okay.
time. Yeah.
So just going back to some of these plants, since
Mhm.
we are both gardeners here, and we're very, very, what is it? very, filled with love for it. I can't think of the word.
Yes, definitely. Hi, MJ Neck. Hi, how you
Hi.
doing?
So, so some of these you can grow indoors, like aloe. Everybody has an aloe, not everybody, but most people can grow
Mhm.
aloe plant inside. I've had an aloe plant for years and I didn't realize, and it stayed small because I didn't realize it would like some sun. So I do take it out in the summer now and
Mhm.
really get it to bulk up and then bring it back in the winter. But that's
Yeah.
a house store plant. You can have that anytime. And it's not just
Mhm.
obviously for your hair, it's mostly for cuts and wounds that you use it for. But
Mhm.
if you can have it, if you have a lot of it, it grows pups like babies and you could repot those and you'll have just like a menagerie of aloe. So that's
Yes.
easy. And a lot of these plants are perennial actually. So you just plant them once from seed, super cheap to get them from seed, and then you never have to look at
Mhm.
them again. Or even if you have to buy them, it's really not that expensive once another year goes by and they self propagate. So your mints, oh my God, put those in a container, please. But your mints
Yeah.
are
Yes.
super easy and cheap to grow. Go to your neighbor, they might have mint in their yard and they'll happily give it to you. Now,
Mhm.
certain things like basil, maybe that's a very annual thing because they don't like to be cold at all. But that's also something you can grow on the windowsill and just pluck off, and it keeps growing for a while. So you can get multiple uses from that. And if you don't have enough in the first harvest, you just sit it either in the freezer, freeze it, or if you can dry it first and then leave it in a cool,
Mhm.
dry place until you have enough to process, maybe make it to a powder or infuse in some kind of oil, and then you'll have plenty of it then. What else? Rosemary is also a house plant for me.
Mhm.
Um, Calendula self seeds very well, so it comes back for me every year all by itself. I don't have to do anything except move the weeds maybe around.
Mhm.
Um, Something that's not on this list that I'm using currently because I read somewhere about graying hair is shikaikai powder, and
Yes.
I don't have it here, so I've forgotten what the yes, there it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
So I
Here it
have
is
it
right
in
here. Yeah.
it's a powder. I make like a
Mhm.
tea, and then
Let's
I extract the powder out of the liquid, and I put the liquid into a
see.
squeeze bottle. Yep,
This will
that's it.
show.
I
Yep.
put it in a squeeze bottle, and then I use that. And I do my hair wash like twice a week, more or less. So I use that as
Mhm.
that's my shampoo. That's it.
Yeah.
And then my conditioner for the most part is just ACV rinse, apple cider vinegar rinse, or
Mhm.
whatever vinegar. I make vinegar out of the calendula. I make vinegar out of lavender. You can make
Mhm.
you can make oils, vinegars, powders out of a myriad of these plants. And what else? Not to say that I don't use, bought product. I have the subscription, not subscription exactly, but it's a very expensive one that I got roped into to support my friend. So it's one of those international, brands that I get.
Mhm.
Luckily, you can like delay the shipment so you don't get inundated with product because it takes me months to go through it. And they're like,
To go.
"Do you want one now? Do you want one now?" And I'm like, "No,
Not yet. No, not yet.
I'm good."
Mhm.
So there's like a hair mask that I use that I do like every other shower or something, and
Mhm.
leave in, or I use it as a leave in conditioner. There's like there's these like split end menders, which I know is crock of garbage because you can't mend a split end.
I know, but so many people, purchase the products, and that was another thing, just going back to the natural hair care community and just the world of hair care products. Um, there was a time, and maybe this was last year, or maybe it was a year and a half ago. I mean, I don't know because these things come around in cycles and then they repeat themselves. But it was a big thing, split end mender, heal your split ends. And it's like, but they're already split.
Yep.
And you're
Glue them
not
back
gonna
together.
mend them back together. Now the product may support
Mhm. Other.
not even preventing, but it may support lessening further split
Right.
ends. But once an end is split, I
Mhm.
mean, unless you got glue in that
Yeah.
product, you're not gonna mend them. You're not gonna, put them back together.
Right.
And what you need to do is, you got to trim it off. You got to get rid of it because if you don't, it will further split up the strand,
Right. That's how you get the
breakage,
frizz.
yeah, all of that, yeah, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was really, really popular for a while. The split in mending, things. But I know your friend definitely appreciates the support. Just, stop delaying. You gotta once or twice a year,
Right.
go ahead. But I know I understand what you mean though, because when you're using like your own products, the things that you make,
Mhm.
and it is kind of, if this is working for me, why go back to using the store bought or repurchasing,
Mhm.
after you found something that works. With me having a hair care channel, I mean, I kind of,
Yeah.
because
You got to do
I've
your
put
due diligence.
yeah, I've put DIY stuff on my I've put DIY videos. I'm sorry, y'all. That's a alarm thing that if you've been hearing that, that's a alarm thing that's going on. Um, but I use my DIY products, but when I'm doing videos, obviously, I'm using the store-bought products. I have made DIY videos, and those videos actually do pretty well. They do better than like my store-bought product videos. So that might be telling me something, that might be telling me something right there. Um, but I try to find a balance until I can work my way through these products because y'all, I pay for them. I'm not
Right.
sponsored, nothing, like that. And I bought these with my own money, so I'm definitely gonna use them.
Yes.
but I like having these natural and the raw ingredients, whether it be, fresh, dried, powder form or whatever, but just raw natural ingredients. And then I can make my own formula. I know exactly what's going into my hair. Then I can better gauge, okay, if this ingredient works or this one doesn't. I know what it is. When you're using store-bought hair products, just the main ingredient is emphasized. And if a product doesn't work for you, or heaven forbid you actually have some kind of adverse reaction to it, sometimes it's difficult to like single out what ingredient in this product, because there's so much stuff it's put together or whatever. But yeah, I definitely, I like the natural DIY hair care. So again, thank you, Joy, for inviting me, on to talk about this, because now that I've pulled out, some of my ingredients, I'm like, yeah, I need to get back into. I need to
Right.
make a few preparations. I need to have some stuff, available. Oh, right quick, let me talk about this. So we talked about the henna that I couldn't think of the name of to save my life. But I just wanted to just mention this. So want the um if you want the effects of henna but not the color,
Mm,
this, can you see that? Cassia abovata.
mhm.
This is like the colorless henna. Like
Okay.
this will give you the properties of henna without changing the color.
Oh.
So, and this was, I forgot where I bought this online somewhere. This might have been an eBay purchase, y'all. Yeah, this might have been an eBay purchase, but it doesn't have ammonia, no peroxide, no chemicals. It's just a raw, 100% pure natural. It's just a raw ingredient. Um, and some people call it the fake henna, but so it's henna without the color change.
All
So,
right.
oh, and something else. This is what you were talking about. I know I was looking for it. The fenugreek
Yeah.
seeds. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna just pull everything. But I do appreciate this, because now I'm taking another look at what I have, and there will be some mixes to come.
So we'll just end it with, let's say, your average hair routine on a weekly or however often. I know you go a while before each washes, which I'm like amazed, because I get the itchy, the
Mm-hmm.
oily. It's just like a mess. But my main problem on a daily basis is the bedhead, or like the pillow squishes your hair and it's just like no bounce to it, and I feel like I'm always just, hair back, ponytail, bun, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be all like, I don't have the time or the energy to constantly have to be doing my hair. What do you, I know
Yes.
you do your twist, so let's talk through your.
I do my twist. So I have tried. And I do, so I wash my hair more than the videos that I upload. But if it's like products I already use, or just stuff that I don't think will make a good video, like I don't record it. So I do go, a measure of time between like recorded wash days. But I do like wash my hair in between. But the bedhead thing, I can't. I tried, like people say, yeah, well, tie your hair down with a scarf, use the bonnet,
Yeah,
do like a up,
right. The
like gather
pineapple.
your hair
Yep.
together and do a pineapple,
Yep.
you know uh sleep with your head hanging off the bed on
Oh my
one
God.
side, look up at the moon, blink your eye. I don't know. Just I cannot preserve a style to
Right.
save my life. The only thing that I can preserve, and like barely, is like the twist and the plaits. Like that's it. That's it. I try. And when I do hairstyles like a flexi rod set or a perm rod set, or a wash and go, or something where it takes time, effort, and energy to do these hairstyles. And I know myself, as soon as the camera is cut off, like literally, y'all. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like pretty much the hairstyle is over. When I go to sleep at night, like it's done. I try. I have tried, like banding my hair. Like you take like these
Uh,
well, almost kind of like this. You'll see people do it, and
okay.
they like band it to like stretch their hair, but keep the style. And then you wake up the next morning, you take off the bonnet, you take off the scarf, you take these out, you shake and fluff up your hair, you get the pick it out just right, and I just don't have the skills and the talent. I'm gonna say it's me. It's just me. I can't. So I am so sorry. I cannot help you with the bed head.
Damn it.
I wake up with bed head hair every day, which is why I think even like from a teenager, like I told you, I used to just like redo my hair every day. I just redo it.
Yeah.
Either that or I go like a few days and like you just put it back in a ponytail and not just leave it, especially if I'm working in the garden or if I'm doing my
Right.
trail walk or if I'm, something where I know I'm gonna get dirty, sweaty, whatever. I'm not gonna, like spend the time and the effort.
Hmm.
But the bedhead thing, I am like 0 in 10 trillion. Maybe 1 in 10 trillion.
I thought there was going to be some magic product that was just like, woo.
I don't, and I've watched videos and you know, I see the girlies, as they
Right.
say in the YouTube streets. I see the girlies, and they have the process. They tie it down. They use the scarf. They use, sometimes depending on the hairstyle, they use the bands. Then they put the bonnet, they go to sleep. And I mean, I don't watch them sleep, so I don't know if they hanging with their head off the side of the bed or if they sleep in regular,
Right.
the satin pillowcase. And I have those things. Now I'm not,
Right.
nah, come on now, I'm gonna keep it. I have the satin bonnet and the satin pillowcase. Like I have all of that stuff. Do I use it all the time? No. But even when I use it and I attempt to follow the same steps that they do, when I wake up in the morning and I take off the bonnet and take off the scarf and take down the scrunchies and shake my hair and fluff it and poof it up, it does not look at all like it looked the first day that I did my hair when it was looking all shiny and sleek and glamorous. No, my hair looked like I slept for like 10 days in one night.
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I must have been in a coma because when I wake up, my hair just be like, my little grays be like, ping, ping, ping. I mean, but I'm
Uh,
just so used to, just redoing my hair. And that's probably why I don't do a lot of, like in depth and whatever stuff. Not on a daily basis. Now for a video, I will, but on a daily basis, no, ma'am. No, no, ma'am.
right. And that's why like straight hair is so like, you know, we do a lot of it because it is
Hmm.
easy to keep up that style daily. And if you just want to do a wave, that's easy enough. But
Hmm.
all that heat styling damage, it's not good.
It's not, no, it's not good. Now I have seen people who have done, and this used to be real popular a while back, not so popular now, but they would, do the wash day, shampoo, condition, all that kind of stuff, and set their hair on the large rollers. You remember those large rollers? And you get under a hooded dryer, you dry your hair. So your hair is essentially, kind of stretched out, but you have a little curl, so a
Right.
little bump. So it's not, flat down straight.
Yeah.
And then that way is, kind of stretched, semi straight and stretched.
Hmm.
And then if you wanted to add the heat and like really straighten it, but it's supposed to be a method of like less direct heat.
Hmm.
So it's less direct than blow drying your hair and then also, flat ironing, straightening.
Yeah.
That's enough. I'm just real. So as time has gone and the hair care industry has increased and all this, now we natural hair care communities and all that kind of stuff, the names that we have come up with for the most simple things that we used to call it back in the day.
Mhm.
Like it used to be shampoo. Now it's, moisturizing cleanser, hair wash,
Yep.
this and that. Don't get me started on like the conditioner, the leave-in, the moisturizer. It's a hair milk. It's a hydrating this. It's a silk mousse souffle. I get so confused. I get so confused. But yeah, I try to stay away from the heat, like excessive heat and excessive straightening. I think I did straighten my hair once this year, or was that last year? I don't know, but I can go years without straightening my hair. I usually do it if I think I'm gonna trim my hair,
Ah, okay.
but that's about it. It's not I don't know. It's not a thing for me. But I do see some women, instead of flat ironing their hair, they'll blow it out. So just a blow dryer and just blow it out. And however straight it is, that's how they wear it. And then they'll do, maybe some kind of rod set or whatever on that blown out hair instead of the direct heat. So that's a way to get, straight or stretched hair without all of that extra heat,
Right.
without sizzling your strands, smoking.
Uh, oh, we won't touch on it, but I'll just mention like the Brazilian treatment, that really harsh chemicals that people put in their hair so
Yeah.
they can have straight hair for
Mhm.
weeks if they're lucky. Oh my God, stop. Don't do that.
I've heard about that and I've seen it, but
I,
I see like the glamorous side of it.
mm,
Not too many people talk about, like the after effects or what can happen if you don't take care of your hair, because my understanding is that it's very like stripping of the
stripping. Yes.
moisture. You have to add the moisture back
Mhm.
into your hair, and if you don't,
No.
you can lose a lot of hair.
Yes, right.
Mhm.
So yeah, I did it a few years ago, but yeah, it's definitely seems very toxic
So,
for
but
you and
okay,
the
but no,
person.
let's talk about it just for a second. So, how did you take care of your hair? Like, how, were
Well, I
you
wasn't
able to
even
keep up with it?
the first time I did it. Um, I was in acting, but not like acting. But I
Mhm.
found like a hair, like they were doing videos on how to do hair, like for classes and stuff. So I was a guinea
Yeah,
pig.
yeah.
So that was the
Mhm.
first time I had it done. But they didn't tell you anything afterwards. They didn't tell
Oh,
you
like the upkeep and the
any
maintenance.
exactly. It's just like, yeah, go about your life. I'm like, okay. So I just did
Mhm.
normal things and eventually grew out, and it was like, yuck, because it was all weirdly wavy in the top, and then it was like
Mhm.
stringy straight at the bottom.
Mhm.
So that took a long time to grow out and trim and all that.
Mhm.
And the fumes from that for myself and the person applying, it's just horrible. And then like
Yeah.
a few years after that, a friend whose mother was into hair care, she gets free products, so she came up and she did my hair, and that took hours. Like our whole day was
Mhm.
blown because she wanted to do my hair, and I'm like, okay, oh my God.
But
And she
how did
like,
it look after she finished though?
oh, it's beautiful after she finishes. You get a couple of days of like, look at my hair.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's short lived. But I don't know. I think the damage just from applying it is more long term than than the short what is it that you the short high that you get from
So,
pretty smooth hair.
how long would you say it took your hair to recover from
Oof,
that treatment?
I'd say 3 4 months.
Mhm.
It's yeah, is when it would be starting. Yeah,
Did you have to cut like a sizable length, or did you just
I
kind of trim
didn't.
it just a
Yeah,
little
I
bit?
just did the trim. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the only trimming my ends is the only not only, but it's the one pro- maintenance thing that I spend hours on if I when I have the time is to sit
Mhm.
there and individually look at like an inch of strand and be like pick 100 of those strands and take the split ends out. And it's
And
worse in
then
the
do it.
winter than it is other times. That is
Mhm.
like the one thing I
Mhm.
am like notorious. At least I try. But then that leaves my hair all wonky. So at some point, I do have to go to the beauty salon and have them murder my hair
I
more by trimming it.
I am laughing because, girl, I trimmed my hair on YouTube. I did I uploaded
Oh,
a
wow.
video where I trimmed my hair, and I think I may have prefaced it or somewhere in throughout or maybe at the end. I was like, "Please do not do this. Don't do what I'm doing," because I was just, like, taking sections and
Yeah.
just looking and trimming, taking sections and looking and trimming. I mean, some sections I, like, trimmed off an inch.
Oh my
Some
gosh.
sections I went back and it was, like, 4 or 5 inches. And of course, when I finished, my hair was not, even, at all or whatever. But I was like, please don't do what I'm doing. Don't. And some people were like, oh my God, like all that you cut off. And I said, but for me, um, you know, a 4 or 5 inches, for me, that still was a trim. To a
Mhm.
lot of people, like that's a major cut. Like
Yeah.
that's like you almost doing a big chop.
Mhm.
But I know my hair and it grows back, quickly. So it's like less of a concern for me. But the major concern, and we said it a couple times, throughout this live stream, is the moisture now. Because my strands are long and they grow, and I don't have a problem with that. But like my ends will be dry. We know the ends are the oldest part of your hair. You need to take care of them. And it does take regular maintenance, cleansing them, make sure they're cleansed, make sure that they're moisturized, make sure that they're protected, trim it when you need to. And I do kind of like search and destroy or just kind of like mildly trim my hair like throughout the year.
Right.
I think I had a comment a long time ago. They were like, your hair doesn't even grow. You're using all of these products and your hair isn't even growing. And I was like, I never thought to mention it, but it's because I'm doing little snippets and trims. If I don't trim my hair, it'll be all the way down my back. Like, and I like long hair. Once my hair finally did grow, like I've always had long hair all throughout my life, except for a handful of times where it was cut. I had it cut real short, like Anita Baker, like short, like it was short, short. And then as it grew out, I sported like the little bob, for a while. But other than that, my hair has always been long. I like long hair. I prefer long hair. I want long hair.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I'm seeing that I have to pay more attention to my hair. It'll grow. It's not that it won't grow, but I want it to grow and be healthy. So
All right. Wow, that was a very in depth, I think,
that was a lot. I know
very
that was a
in conversation.
See, but you can't invite like a natural hair care person onto your live stream, because we will go on and on. Just like if we were talking about gardening stuff,
Exactly.
like
There's a
it'll
lot.
probably be like a 10-hour, live stream. But
Exactly.
I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. And like I said, you have caused me to, go back and look at um some of the more natural ingredients and the products and stuff that I have in my collection, um that I'm going to be doing something with instead of just letting it sit in my closet rebels cabinet drawers.
Right.
I'm gonna pull them out and do something with them.
Awesome. So glad. Wow. Thank you again. And thank you for anybody who was able to watch live. Thank you for any replay watchers. If continue following us on our own channels at Healy Means. I'm sorry, I forgot to do the whole ticker thing.
That
I think
that's
of
all
this
right.
stuff. This channel is Joy Unhinged. My other channel is Joy of the Garden and Home, where I will be planting
Mhm.
all those wonderful plants and putting them in my hair. And
Yeah.
maybe this summer or fall, we'll do some of those videos. We'll cook up some hair products.
Mhm.
I did a recent video on making my own. What do I make? A butter, skin butter, where I
Uh-huh.
take like calendula oil, which I made, and I bought shea butter, and then I had vitamin E, which we also mentioned here. I use that,
Mhm.
drops of that, and glycerin. You mentioned glycerin. That's an important
Mhm.
product for moisture retention. So good for your hair, good for your face, good for your internals.
Mhm.
All right. Any last words?
Just for as we were mentioning throughout this video, like natural ingredients from the garden and then in the kitchen, I just want to say for all of the hair scientists and the, PhD, people who may come across this video, we understand that eggs and avocado, fruits and vegetables and all of that kind of stuff. We understand that there is a complicated, chemical makeup to these ingredients and, all of that stuff. We understand that it's, could be a lot more, like in depth. We understand that there's a lot more, at the molecular level and stuff like that. But we aren't professionals. We aren't scientists. We are speaking of just things that work for us. We are not telling anybody to do anything. We are just, sharing our experiences, um, which we are free to do. We have a right to do it. And we did it.
So there. All
Yep,
right.
so there.
All right. We will hopefully have some more riveting content for you soon. But other than that, you all have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Bye
Bye.
bye.